Oh, hi guys, this is another little video of the stuff I've made in the past, four-stroke engines. I mean, back in the day, we only had like the OS four-stroke. I think that came out in the sort of 90s. There's a Mark 1 and a Mark 2. I was lucky enough to get this engine brand new in box off a good friend of mine. Let's just put that down on there. Kay in Canada. She sent that over to me. It's never been run. You know, I've got the original toolkit with it. I've got air filter housing. The little muffler, little exhaust on there. And lovely stainless steel exhaust pipe. And the uprated carburettor. Now, on some of my other models, I've got a pull start. That bug you can see in the background there, that is a Kosho Baja Beetle, and I've got a four-stroke in there with a slide carb, which does give it a lot of power. But you know, this is a much better carb than the original one that came with the engine, which is like an aircraft carburettor. It's not very good. Here's the air filter elements. And here is, get it out of this bubble wrap, this is lovely motor, which commands quite a high price these days. And if you're lucky enough to find a faulty one, which I am kind of looking for, you know, it's worth even more, you know. These can go for up to like £500, something like that, or more. I've seen them for more money. And if you get one in the Super 10, something like that in the FW, I think the FW03, you know, they can go for like over £1,000 for a car, maybe £1,300, something like that, you know. I was lucky enough to get FW05 Kosho that's sitting over there, the white Porsche of Dave, another good mate of mine. You know, we done a deal, we done a swap with a couple of bikes and this, that and the other. I got an FW05 Kosho, which is quite a rare car, which I'm hoping to run again this weekend if the weather holds out. But, you know, these were absolutely a fantastic engine. You know, if you run a straight pipe on one of these, and some, say, 25% fuel, something like that, you know, they're rated at 18,500 revs. Now, I know some guys that can get these up to 20,000 on open pipe, and I believe on my bike, I've got a four-stroke bike over there which I've made, I'm getting like 20,000 because I don't think I could get it to scream any more than what it does. It's a fantastic engine. You know, the Toyan's a really good workhorse of an engine, but you know, when OS brought these out, I mean, this is a Mark 2 one. The Mark 1 has got a different type of cam cover, but I believe all the internals are the same. You can always see them by the black crankcase. Now, all it is really is a 26 sort of aircraft engine, which has been kind of breathed on a little bit. They've got a different cam in his house in here. They've got like a high lift cam, which again, if you can find one, will cost you a lot of money as well. I think a friend of mine's got some from Australia, but they are, you know, very hard to get. So it runs like a high lift cam, and it's got stronger springs, harder valves, and the collets that are in top of the valves are harder as well, because I know, you know, to my cost, that I've got an actual converted aircraft engine with the cam and all the other bits and pieces that I bought from Germany from someone, and he'd done all the conversion, but he hadn't put the hard collets in the top. And what happened when it revs, you know, up to its max, it dropped a valve. But lucky enough, it didn't do too much damage. But when I found the part number, I didn't realise they were different. But when I found the part number for the OS car engine, for the little collets that go on the top, I bought them, and when they come through, they were like thick, slightly thicker, and they were harder. They were shiny. You know, they were a real tough thing, and I've never had any problems since. And these can rev up to like, you know, you can get these up to 20,000. You know, like I said, the Toyan's a working engine, and it's great, and it's overhead cam, but you know, this is what we had back in the day, and they're still a good engine, but they're so hard to find. And you know, if you can get one, if you can afford one or find one, you know, I mean, I'm looking for a project to put this in. I don't know, this lovely engine. I'm still thinking of what I can put this in. You know, it's never had a drop of fuel in it, and you know, it's in the box. But I'm not a sort of an Iraqi guy who wants to keep it in the box and blah blah blah. I want to sort of use it in something. So that's what I'm. You know, one of my projects is going to be on that in the future. Now, I'll show you some of the things I've actually made with this engine back in the day. I mean, this bike was a long project. You know, it's been going some time now. I always wanted a 4-stroke bike, you know, and some guys made them back, you know. 5th scale bikes were quite big back in the day. I think it was around about 2004, 2005, something like that. Novo for all brought them out, and then Thunder Tiger, sort of, how they done it, I don't know. We talk about clones, but they still had them back in the day. Thunder Tiger brought out the FM1E, which is kind of a knockoff of one of these bikes. Let me get the rider off. You know, and they done it for sort of half the price now on, so you know, Novo throw out to kind of, I mean, you can't beat the quality of a Novo throw bike. They are absolutely lovely. But anyway, this is like a mishmash of Thunder Tiger and Novo for all. Now, you know, this has been an ongoing project of mine because I've had a lot of problems with getting the engine running really crisp. You know, I think I found out what it is now, but it's taken me years off and on. You know, like when you've got a project and it's on the back burner and you get out now and again, or you read something and you think to yourself, oh yeah, I've got my I'll dig that out. But, you know, I've moved this intake around so many different positions. It's been up there, you can see it's ground away on the bottom there. And this is basically the sort of best way that it runs. And that's an OS carburetor. I've had sort of so many different carbs on there. I've had slide carbs, you know, smaller ones. I've even tried to go back to running the standard carb and all that kind of thing, but you know, it's never worked. I don't know if you can you see OS engines in there? It lays down sort of like a conventional way. I just realised the head bolts look a bit rusty, which is not good. I did take it out in the rain a couple of times, but you know, I've got igniter on there. There it is for the plug, so I don't have to keep sticking a plug in, you know, a glow start in there. I've got a servo here, one that does the steering, the one on the other side, this one does the throttle, this little carburetor here, big stick, so that does the throttle. So it's quite an elaborate thing going over there, push rod, you know, up and down all around the place to get over to the carburetor. But like I say, I made that disc brake up. Works really good, a little bit too good really, you have to be really careful with it. Got a front disc brake on, standard Novo for all. I made up my own forks because these are good strong, you know, they tend to twist, and once they twist they lock up. So got the standard steering damper on there, works okay. Now these engines tend to run a little bit warm, so you can see up there I've got one of them little cooling fans up there, one of them really high power cooling fans. I put a single sided swinging arm on it because I like them. Not the strongest of things, but that's, you know, was a standard thing on it. But anyway, and the air filter's a bit of a struggle. I've just noticed I've got a bit of a kink in it, so that's something I'm going to have a look at. It's just an aircraft exhaust, runs straight out the back, so it does make your ears ring. It's, you know, I've changed the gearing down a little bit because it's quite fast. It doesn't rev that high, but it's quite fast. But I've had it like going really well, and I'll take it out the next week and it's like rubbish. So I've been looking into it. It just misfires at like high RPM. And what I noticed was a couple of weeks ago, I've had it with a car before. When I was revving it, I could see air bubbles coming up the pipe. I had it with a little Kyosho car once where I had the same sort of problem, and I just undone the 2 screws that hold the tank, and that was it. It cured it straight away. So I thought, well, yes, maybe that's the problem. So what I've done now is I've actually rubber mounted the tank. There's no easy task, but you know, nothing is in this. When you're making something up yourself, it's always a bit of a fiddle or whatever. So I've actually rubber mounted a tank, and I took it out a couple of weeks ago and it went absolutely perfect. So if you hold it in your hand and you rev it, you can still see bubbles, but I think when it's on the ground, it's not reaching those terminal kind of revs. But this does like scream, you know, it's quite a scary thing. But like I say, that's a good bike. It's a good fun thing, and it sounds really awesome, you know. And I've got all the rider painted up on it, you know, and it's a very, you know, it's not sort of revvy or that quick, but it's torquey and it sounds nice. It's a lovely sort of thing to run. I like it. It's a great thing. Right, that's one down. The other thing I made is, let's see if I can reach it over here, is this. You all know what these are if you've been to radio control. These are a really early cheap kind of Baja Bug. Now my friend got two of these and he gave one to me. There's only a chassis, like just nothing really, just a chassis. And, I mean, they were a really cheap car show, you know, model, and they come with their own branded, what was it? I think it was a GS15 or something like that. You know, I think the Mark II one come with 15. I think the original one actually come with an OS10, which was like horrendous. But the real trick part on these cars is the gearbox. Now, I like these gearboxes. I'm thinking of trying to get another one and putting in the Toyan vehicle, because, you know, you can set up a 2-speed on this, which it's got on there, and you've also got like neutral and, you know, reverse and forward, and it works really well, and it's good. You can have it sitting there just ticking over and blip the throttle, you know. I mean, this is really crisp, this engine. But the only thing it didn't have, you know, which is a bit strange, was it didn't have any brakes. Now, obviously, when it ran with an OS 10, you didn't really need a brake because it sort of crawled around and it was like a right slug. But, you know, you run this with this OS 4-stroke. This is a real on-song 4-stroke, this. And I've got the slide carbon there. Can you see? Another sort of dealing, and a straight out pipe. Look at the size of that manifold. This is what gives the engines the power. You can get something straight out the side like that. And I run that slide carburetor, which is really crisp and nice. And I've got a little brushless fan on the side there. You can see that, because they do run a bit hot. Now, originally, they had like a big cooling fan sort of around here that ran off the crank. You had like a tooth belt to come up there, but I can't find one of them for love nor money. So, in this days of brushless and whatever, a little fan like that, you know, it does quite well. But, you know, this thing is like really fast, and it actually will actually wheelie away, and it wheelies in reverse. So you've got like, and when you brake, oh yeah, that's what I was saying about the brake. It didn't come with a brake, so I managed to find some Kyosho parts, and I extended the shaft right through, and I fitted on a disc brake. Can you see the disc brake? It's in there. You'll see it going around. So I actually made a disc brake. So I've got the throttle servo working the brake, and I've got another servo there which is working the gear change. You know, and it all works really well. The brake is fantastic. It does end over end, you know, whatever way you're going, it'll just go end over end. And it's a really fun car. I took off the silly little shocks, and I bought some of these. I had like dirt cheap from China or whatever. Made myself up a, you know, carbon fibre shock tower and all stuff like that. And I've got that little wheelie bar on the back there. It just keeps it, you know, on a straight and level. But this is probably one of the most fun things you can have. The way it wheelies, and it'll keep wheeling and wheeling until you turn the power off, you know. And so if you brake too hard, it will go end over end. But it will wheelie going backwards as well. So it's a crazy little thing, and, you know, it's a very enjoyable car to ride. But, you know, without that engine, it will be like, you know, just your average thing. But, you know, these engines are peppy, and that's a great little thing. All right, now the next one, I'll go and reach it again, on the Toyan box, is right, FW05. Now, I believe this came out sort of in the 90s. I'm not sure. I have to ask my mate Dave. Now, I think it was sort of late 90s, because I know the Super 10s, you know, the Super 10s, I think they came out in sort of early 90s. I can just about remember them. So, seeing as this has got like the Mark 1 engine, I'm thinking it might be sort of from the early 90s, but I don't know. But the chassis on it, it looks a bit later, so I don't know. Apparently it came with, you know, the engine and the kit and the fitting kit and all stuff like that. Now, I don't know if you can see the size of those gears. You know, they're bigger than a clutch bell. Can you see them? Now, this is because this engine, I mean, like I say, they rev to like 18,000. And I think that pipe doesn't do it any favours. They call it a tune pipe, but you don't need a really tune pipe on a 4-stroke, but you know, it's just a bit of show. You know, it makes them nice and quiet, because they do kind of make your ears ring a bit, these motors, with a straight pipe. Now, this is because it's a low revving engine, but it's got a lot of torque, so they run the big gears on them, which again are impossible to find. I've got so many projects I'd love to find, you know, one of these gearboxes. I've been searching and searching, but say we've done a deal with my mate, and I've come away with this car, which I'm really pleased with. I've started it up. I've not actually run it yet. Again, Sunday, if the weather's okay, we're going to get out for a bit of a bash. But this is a lovely thing. It's got the later carb on it. It's a nice big bore carb on that. And you can see the engine actually sort of cranks over at an angle. You know, it's a nice looking setup. Again, I should imagine this came with a GS15 or something like that, and then Kosher decided to, you know, do a engine mount kit and stuff like that to fit in the car, you know, and try and sell a few more, whatever. I don't know, but this engine has been discontinued, which is a real shame, because you know it's a lovely thing, and you know, I know there was a guy who was going to go into production and making 4-stroke bikes, but you know, just as he was about to do it, Kosho pulled the plug on the engine, so that was the end of that. But in a bike, they are really nice. But I say, in anything really, they're just totally different, just totally different sound, and they are a very powerful engine for what they are. I mean, it's only a tiny little 26, and you're never going to get a 4-stroke to rev like a 2-stroke, you know. If you want that screaming whatever, and you buy yourself a 2-stroke and away you go. But these cars have got so much character, and that they are kind of, you wouldn't believe, they don't sound like they're going that quick, but they are, you know. They're sort of, I don't know, they just sound like they're not going that quick. But you race with something, a 2-stroke or something, and yeah, you'll be surprised how fast they go. So I just thought I'd show you guys a few projects, you know, that I've done in the past. I told you about, I'm waiting for the what's happening with the V4, the Toyan, which I'm sort of still debating what to do with it, or whether to get one. You know, I can get one, but I'm looking what to do at the moment. And you know, I've got the money burning a hole in my pocket. You know what it's like with all these other projects. But you know, I'm happy where I am at the moment. And I've got to find, you know, I've got the other OS engine that's brand new in the box, and I want to find something where I can put that in. So, you know, I was thinking of making another bike and changing it all completely, and making it not in a slab-sided frame, making it in, because when you've got a slab-sided frame, when you want to work on it or anything like that, you have to do a lot of work to strip it down. So I was thinking of making it like a stress member, that engine, a part of the frame. And I've always wanted to have a 2-stroke, like, not a 2-stroke, a 2-speed 4-stroke bike. Now you've got to have a really thin sort of gearbox to get it all in, but I have seen guys that have done it, so kind of maybe I might use that 4-stroke in another bike, and you know, start again from scratch and see what I can come up with, because they are fun, you know. It will spin the wheel and stuff like that, and it will slide when it's on song, you know. But I fancy making something, you know, with a different tank and whatever, just to get rid of all the vibration problems and the foaming of the fuel and stuff like that. But I don't know, yeah, I'm going to think about it. Anyway, I'm going to sign off, guys. I hope you enjoy these projects, and I'm hoping, like I say, to get a run of my Toyan and a few of these on Sunday. So, you know, subscribe or watch my next videos. I hope you like them, and I'll see you in the next one. See you, guys.